I kind of wanted to follow up also on the investment things. I'll do the approaches, and I got pretty good at like, just amping up the attraction, whatever. But then after a while, it turns into dancing monkey, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what I really have trouble with is actually when I talk to you in DC, you can kind of gauge where you are in the interaction by is your value up or is your comfort? It's either value or comfort, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I kind of figuring it's really the comfort thing, because if I'm doing all this dancing monkey, then I got the girl staying there, I got all the value, blah blah blah. But then like, is she comfortable enough? Like, I'll get numbers, like that's fine, but then it's not enough comfort where they're invested into me to like meet me up again. We'll text back and forth, but
right. Again, don't confuse comfort and investment, because they are two different things. All right.
Okay.
When Julian or Owen calls a girl a dog, and then the girl reacts and gets angry, the girl is not getting comfortable, but they are getting invested. Okay. So the two are not the same thing. And in order for a number to not flake, you need either comfort or investment, or ideally maybe a combination of the two. But you can have a number not flake because of comfort or not flake because of investment, actually.
So what do you think the problem is here then?
I think the problem isn't with... Okay, so I think the problem is probably lack of investment and lack of comfort. Comfort is more due to time and more due to them feeling like you actually got to know them. And then investment is the fact that they didn't participate in the set. But regardless of what the difference is, the solution's the same. And the solution is that you need to get them participating more, and you need to get them chasing in some way or invested in some way, right? And either one will work. So I would say within that dancing monkey that you're doing, leave pauses. And also within the dancing monkey, ask them questions. And at some point, even if you go dancing monkey, you can tell they're entertained. You can even, if you have to, like crowbar it and force them to talk and be like, so yeah, I've clearly been the more entertaining one in this conversation. Your turn, go. Right? And just put them on the spot if you have to. Right now, that's not optimal. Anytime you have to narrate the interaction and anytime you have to force them overtly to understand the social dynamics of what's going on, it's not optimal, but it's still better than the alternative. So you can even do something like that if it really comes down to it. Or it can be like, you know what, we've been joking around, we've been kind of like, I'm clever, you're clever, everybody's clever, that's awesome. But I'm just curious if you can be a real human being, because if we're going to be friends, we can only joke so much. So just like tell me your story quickly. Something like that, right? Just to settle it down and force it to become that type of interaction. And we always say like the chode questions, where are you from, what do you do, those kind of things are lame. And to a certain extent they are, but mostly they're lame if that's all you have to say. If you've clearly demonstrated that you have other things to say and you've clearly demonstrated that you're entertaining and having fun, then it's not necessarily so bad, to ask those kind of questions just to normalize the interaction or to fill some of the gaps. You can get away with being a little bit boring and mundane during periods of the conversation as long as you're exceptional in other periods. So just be willing to have that, like force the mundane conversation and be willing to recognize that you will lose sets that way. That's why most guys become dancing monkeys, is because they learn that by being a dancing monkey, by being high energy, they get to keep the set. And so they keep doing that. They keep keeping the set as opposed to transitioning the set forward, right? The point of running a set isn't just to run it for minutes. You're not running like for the world time record of how long you can hold the set without them talking. What you're running it for is, do you get laid? Do you get that solid investment and follow-up, or do you get them to come home with you? And so recognize that that's your objective. Holding the set is actually the worst thing you can do. If all you do in a set is hold the set all night and it goes nowhere, you just wasted your whole night. I always say that's the disaster set. The set that blows you off in like 30 seconds, that's fine. Who cares? Go on with your night. The disaster set is the set that you stay with for 2 hours and go nowhere. So that's the one you want to avoid. So make sure that you don't tolerate those sets where nothing's happening.
Is there something I can work on specifically? Because like I said, it's just like how you talked about it. When I'll open up.
Okay, so here's what you do. Here's what you do specifically. Slow down your delivery, leave pauses, require feedback. What will happen when you do that is you will lose sets at first. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with the fact that you'll lose sets by doing it. But that's what you need to do. Okay? Force them to participate. Force them to be in the interaction. Allow awkward silences. And you can allow them to a point without fucking up the set. For example, instead of being like ba 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 in set, instead of just like blasting it out there, you can like ba 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 ba. but, right? And by having that silence there, and even letting it go just that little like fraction of a second longer than it should, so it's just a little awkward, a lot of times they'll fill the silence, right? And you'll find out at the very least whether they're willing to fill it or not. Okay, so at least leave it there so that they have a chance to fill it at the very, very bare minimum. And then the other thing you do is that's interesting. Where are you from? Oh, cool. Oh, really? Wait, how old did you say you are? Right? And now at least it's still illusory input. It's not real input. It's not like they're really like telling you their deepest, darkest secrets, but at least they're contributing in some way. But force some sort of contribution. And the more you can ask questions you actually care about the answer to, the more you can ask questions that are relevant, the more you can ask questions that in a way that triggers an emotion in them. Instead of like, how old are you? Be like, wait, are you younger than you look? Right? Something like that. Or wait, are you actually like older than you look? That was a really interesting thing that was an interesting look you gave me. That was an interesting thing you said. Right? And now they're like, why? Why do I look old? How old did I look? How old am I acting? What did I say that was interesting? And now it brings up a lot of questions, a lot of ways that they can participate or want to be a part of the conversation. So, but by the general thing though is just make them participate. Don't tolerate them not participating, and do be okay with the fact that you will lose sets because of it, because that's part of the training program. Anytime you implement something new in your game, anytime you try and like tweak something, you're usually going to get worse before you get better. You have to accept that.
Yeah. I heard qualifying is something that could help solve this. Just like asking them questions like, oh, well, are you adventurous or some shit like that, you know?
Yes and no. Qualifying won't help you get investments, but qualifying will help you turn investment into comfort, and will help you turn investment into like a more solid interaction. Does that make sense? If you ask a girl to qualify herself and she's not ready to qualify herself, she'll say no. Like if you just randomly walk up to a stranger and you've had no interaction, you go like, so what do you have going for you more than your looks that would make me want to get to know you? She'd be like, why should I tell you?
Yeah.
Or she'll just look and be like, nothing, go away, right? Because she has no reason to invest yet. So qualifying doesn't actually get you investment per se, but what it does is it allows, once you have them into you enough to invest, it allows you to convert that investment from that feeling of I would invest into a tangible action that they can invest in. So it allows you to sort of capitalize on investment, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So what exactly builds the comfort aspect of it then?
Time. Time is the biggest thing. Time. Okay, two things. Time without bad emotions. So if it's a lot of time, but it's all awkward and terrible, it's not building comfort. But time without bad emotions builds comfort. Because I always say this: how do you define comfort? It's really hard. Like people say, comfort is being comfortable. Comfort is feeling safe, right? Which is almost kind of like a synonym in a way to comfort. But the best definition of comfort, if you think about it, is comfort is not being uncomfortable, right? Which isn't really even a definition either. It's a negative definition. But that's the thing. What does comfort feel like? It feels like nothing. But you know what discomfort feels like. So comfort is a lack of discomfort. It's like I say in the gym, like, you know what a sore muscle feels like, you don't know what an unsore muscle feels like, because you just don't notice it. Okay? That's what comfort is. Comfort is a non-sore muscle. And the longer you've had your muscles not be sore, the more comfortable you are. What's that?
Is that something that would be easy for you to just assume and get them to, like, I guess by like straight transference or whatever have you, just get them to assume it back as well?
Yeah, it can help, because again, if you feel comfortable, you're going to be less likely to trigger discomfort in them, right? So yeah, absolutely. The biggest builder of comfort though is time. Okay, now there are a lot of ways to sort of sneakily make it seem like more time has passed, or to seem like the time that's passing is like counts more towards comfort. But the big paradigm you should have in your head is time. Okay, that's what builds comfort. The other thing though that can build comfort. Let me finish this and I'll take another comment. But the other thing that can build comfort is if you had an opportunity to push and you didn't. Okay? That's another thing. That's like bonus time. It's like if normal time counts like 1-to-1, then like time where you had an opportunity to escalate and didn't counts maybe like 5-to-1. Okay? So for example, if she's given you the green light to make out with her and you're sitting there just chilling and talking and not making out with her, that time counts more, because she knows that you could be pushing, you could be trying to make it sexual. So it makes her feel as though you're not just after sex, right? Does that make sense? Or like, for example, if you have already like gotten to a certain level physically, but then you just chill back and don't go to that level again, then she knows that you could, or she knows that like plausibly you would think that you have permission to, and you're not. So it makes her think, again, you're not just trying to use her in that regard. That's something that I mess up on a lot on dates, actually, is because it's so easy for me to make out with girls. A lot of times what I should do on a date is just kiss them and then just chill back. And like once I've made out with them once, just chill back and let it come to me. But especially if I'm performing for a camera like I was last night on a date that I was on, I tend to make out more than I should and make it too obvious as opposed to chilling back and building that comfort. So that's another big thing. But the big thing, regardless, it's time. And some time counts more than others depending what you're doing. But the more time you spend with someone without you having done anything egregious to them, the more comfortable they are with you.
So wait, like you were saying before about in the order of things, like, you know, it's not, like, I get what you're saying. I don't know if there's a paradox, but like you were saying, time, you remember, like, it's not a marathon in the set. But then in this case, comfort is, like, time is on your side. You said something earlier about...
Oh, it's not a contest to see how long you can hold the set, right? Right, yeah.
So like, what, in the order of things, where does this match up?
In the order of things in terms of, like, when do you build comfort, or how important is it under other things, or what do you mean in the order of things?
Yes, is this, like, maybe, were we talking about, is that, like, the investment thing is when time, you know, it's not about time. But then when you're in comfort, then it is about time. I mean, I'm just trying to, like, where does this all fit in?
Okay, so you go into a set, they don't know anything about you, all right? In order for them to stay, they need the overall emotion to be more positive than negative, more pleasant than unpleasant most of the time, okay? Now, the other way around that is to make it so extreme that they have to get in a fight with you. So those are basically your two options to keep them there. You can either make it more pleasant than unpleasant, or you can get in a fight with them. But either you need that like extreme investment where they want to stay to prove something, or you need it to be positive. That's what's going to keep them there at first. Then, after a certain amount of time, you can't just have a surface conversation because it gets boring, right? It's just not going anywhere, right? If you talk about the weather in like a clever, fun way, at first it's okay. But after like 10 minutes of all you've talked about is the weather, like, oh, okay, this is a weather conversation. Yay, lots of fun. And it just gets boring. So at some point you need to start going deeper, right? At some point you need to start going deeper. And that's when you start getting into that investment. Are they invested in the conversation? Are they invested in the conversation topic? Are they invested in you? Or are they invested in finding out about something about themselves, right? It can't just be surface the whole time. You have to go a little deeper. And that's where the investment goes in, is getting the conversation to be deeper, getting it to be a conversation where they actually feel like the conversation has substance, is something, and there's something they can grab onto in it. And so then that's where you're getting the investment. And that's what will keep them there. That's what will potentially make them chase you. And then once you've kept them there and once you're making them chase you, then that's when you can build the comfort. Because again, you've bought yourself enough time to make that happen. And that's specifically for cold approach. In a social circle or in another situation, it can happen differently. But that's kind of in a cold approach how it almost has to go down. Because again, if you give someone a negative emotion at the start, they're going to run away, right? So all the rest of it doesn't matter. If the conversation stays too superficial, there's no reason for them to stay and get to know you. And so they'll leave at some point or they'll get distracted. But if you give them enough reason to get to know you, then it can work out.